Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids, the channel where you get the no-nonsense, in-depth reviews of all the latest cars and motorcycles. And this motorcycle here is probably the most amazing motorcycle I have ridden in a very long time, especially in the Indian context. And I have ridden quite a few of them of late. Oh my God, how well KTM have made it, and what a beautiful upgrade it is. We have seen the second generation KTM 390 Duke also come in, but this one really eliminates the big issues that the motorcycle had, and with an increase in the cubic capacity by 26cc, a bigger airbox and better cooling, a longer stroke engine, this motorcycle now comes across as a lot more usable. It has a lot more torque down the rev range, and that really was the big problem with its predecessor. So I'm not going to get into the details first. Obviously I'm going to talk about all the changes. I've already talked about all the changes in my walk around earlier, but in this review I'll talk about the experience first, the seat of the pants experience, and what I've felt about the motorcycle. So first things first, the tractability of this motorcycle has improved by leaps and bounds, and I checked and double checked with my review of the previous generation motorcycle, and the numbers, the most important numbers for me were the tractability numbers. So while the previous generation motorcycle did 65 kilometers per hour in 6th gear, that's the point where this motorcycle would trundle along from, it has come down by 20 kilometers per hour. So this motorcycle will start moving from 45 kilometers per hour in 6th gear. The previous generation motorcycle moved at 55 kilometers per hour in the 5th gear. This one would do that at 40 kilometers per hour. A speed reduction of about 15 kilometers per hour. In the 4th gear, that one would move from 45. This one would start as early as 32 kilometers per hour. And in the 3rd gear, while the previous generation would move from 30 kilometers per hour, this one would be moving along from 20 kilometers per hour. What that would mean is that this motorcycle can be used by people within the city. You will be allowed to be in higher gears at lower speeds. You'll not have to change the gear too much. Also, the heat dissipation, the heat management has been taken care of, and it won't dissipate as much heat as it used to. So these are the two biggest issues that have been dealt with. Also, the engine now produces its power at 500 RPM less. So there is 2.5 PS more, and there is 2 Newton meters more. So the peak power here is 46 PS, which is produced at 8,500 RPM, 500 RPM less than the previous version. And the peak torque of 39 Newton meters is also produced at 500 RPM less. Not just that, 80% of that impressive torque is available from as low as 5,000 RPM. This number was earlier 6,000 RPM, but it's not just that, it's also the amount of torque which was available even lower down the rev range, which has increased. And while you'd had to keep the motorcycle above 3,500 RPM in the previous version, now it'll trundle along from 2,500 RPM. So that really means that at lower revs there is torque available, and that really does wonders to its tractability and usability, and that really is the most important aspect from a day-to-day usage point for me personally. So that was practicality. Another important question that you probably have is about the vibrations. There are very mild vibrations. They are less than the previous version, but there are some mild vibrations nonetheless which start creeping in from 6,000 RPM onwards, but they are absolutely not bothersome, and you can really live with them. There is no problem whatsoever. In terms of the numbers supplied by KTM about the performance of this motorcycle, the numbers are again very impressive. This motorcycle does its 0 to 60 run in 2.4 seconds, which is 0.4 seconds less than the previous version. It also does its 0 to 100 run in 5.4 seconds, which again is 0.4 seconds less than its previous version. The top speed of this motorcycle, the true top speed as claimed by KTM, is 155 kilometers per hour, although you would see a top speed of 175 kilometers per hour on the speedo. So in the real world, you'd really feel that you're going much faster than what KTM claims this motorcycle to achieve in terms of top speed. So really impressive numbers there. And in terms of its gearing, I believe that the gearing has not changed much. The gearing is pretty much the same. However, what really has changed is when the power really kicks in, and from 2,500 RPM onwards you have some movement and 3,500 RPM onwards, you really have a reasonably strong surge. And while the kick really came in after 6,000 RPM earlier, now 5,000 RPM onwards, you can really feel that the engine is on song, and it does feel really strong all the way till the red line of 10,000 RPM. So it feels much stronger. There's a stronger mid-range, and it makes it such a more usable motorcycle, such a more amazingly versatile motorcycle, be it on the track like this or be it in the real world, that it was really impressive for me. Now, in terms of its cruising speeds, if you want to see how relaxed this motorcycle is in the 6th gear, at 5,500 RPM, it'll be hitting its turn mark. So it's pretty relaxed at 100. At 7,000 RPM, it'll hit its 120 mark, and even at 140 it's only at 8,000 with 2,000 RPM more to go. So it's pretty relaxed at pretty high speeds. So if you want to be doing fast speeds, this motorcycle will feel very relaxed even at very respectable speed. So that again is very good thing if you want to go touring on this motorcycle. Although the pillion seat here is not very suitable for taking a pillion along, but the rider's seat is very comfortable, and the overall seating triangle, which I'll just show you in a bit, is also very well set up. Which brings us to the handling and braking part. And as you can see, it brings a smile on my face because the power was there earlier as well. And now, since this motorcycle is lighter by 4 kg, the unsprung weight is lighter by 2 kgs, which really aids its handling, its nimbleness by a huge margin. And it's so very evident while you're riding it hard around a track like this that you cannot prevent yourself from giving this motorcycle the highest honors in terms of the handling capabilities, save probably for its brethren, which is the KTM RC390. But in terms of the street fighter motorcycles, I can really say this with confidence that up to this price point, there is no other motorcycle which handles so beautifully well. Now, the KTM 390 Duke also was a fantastic handler. However, the difference between the KTM 390 Duke and the KTM RC390 was reasonably substantial, especially around a track like this. You did feel that there was some gap, and with this new motorcycle, I really believe that KTM have outdone themselves. It feels so light, so nimble, so planted, and so subservient that you can really take very high speeds into the corners. You can brake really late, you can dip it very hard, you can pick it up very easily. It doesn't require you to be struggling with it. The handlebar is very easy to move from one end to the other, and the front really feels in control all the time. There's no wallowiness at all, and even when you are at the limit, the tires seem to be completely in sync with the motorcycle's power. In summary, this is one of the most confidence inspiring motorcycles that you are going to be riding on the street or on the track within this price range. And it really is a phenomenally well set up suspension, chassis and tire setup. So that really should say a lot about this motorcycle. If this performs so beautifully well and inspires so much confidence into me on this track where I've ridden so many times, I really believe that you can really use this with a lot of confidence on the road as well. And having all of that confidence does not mean that this motorcycle does not have a very good ride quality. The balance has been achieved beautifully well, and this rides beautifully as well. And one of the key aspects of the ride again is its practicality in terms of the ground clearance it has, and it has over 180 mm of ground clearance, gone up by over 30 mm. And as you can see, there's a massive gap here between this exhaust and the ground, and the ground clearance here should allow it to take bad terrain in its stride pretty well. Now, important aspect which needs to be discussed since we are on the point of handling and ride are the suspension bits. And at the rear now you have this offset monoshock which can be adjusted for rebound damping as well to 5 notches, and the preload can be adjusted to 10 notches. So this is a far superior setup, and it does really help, gives you a lot more adjustability. Up front you have a WP Apex 43 mm USD, and here you have 5 notches for rebound and 5 notches for compression damping. You don't have preload here, but all of that can be adjusted very easily using these little levers here, and you don't even need any tools. At the rear you'll require a small screwdriver, but up front you won't even require simple tools. So suspension setup is beautiful, and the chassis, the trellis frame, the main frame is all new. It's heavier, it's sturdier, it has lesser flex, and this beautiful subframe here is die cast aluminum. I really don't know why this is not left in all its aluminum glory and whites painted where it looks like plastic, because this is a piece of art. It's really an expensive bit, and it should have been left bare for everyone to know that this is die cast aluminum. So a very high quality bit here, so that has helped reduce the weight. The weight reduction has also come in the form of the lighter wheels, which are similar to the RC now, the lighter discs, 320mm up front. The brakes are really sharp. I don't have any complaints whatsoever. At the rear, the brakes are now 10mm bigger, up from 230mm to 240mm. And let's also fire up the engine once and let you listen to the exhaust of this motorcycle. The gear shifts are as slick as they get. The clutch action is light. It also comes with a bi-directional quick shifter, which makes it all the more beautiful to operate. So when you don't have the time for clutch engagement and or for rev matching, you can simply use the gear without having to engage the clutch. All of that is great tech. Apart from that, you get cornering ABS, you get traction control, and in the track mode, you also get a launch control mode. So what it essentially does is it prevents the motorcycle from wheeling up and provides you the most amount of traction. It limits the revs so that you can really launch it to a level where you get the maximum possible acceleration, although that mode can be activated only in track mode. Now, talking about the changes more specifically, I've talked about my experience. The seat here is very, very comfortable, one of the best that I have seen. The seating position is beautifully set up. I would use this motorcycle on a track like this and on the road and for touring. For me personally, it's one of the best set up rider triangles ever. The seat, as I mentioned, is wide, allows you to move around very, very easily. You have a reasonable amount of weight on your palms. The foot pegs are rear set. The tank scoops are beautifully set up. So if you want to be riding this motorcycle in a variety of environment, including if you want to straddle it, since you know it's tapered here, you would really be able to do it. So now with the increased ground clearance, if you want to take it slightly off the road also, it really lends itself very, very well. And for the shorter riders, now the seat height is only 800mm, reduced by 23mm. So for riders who are 5 feet 5'3", also this should be a very easy motorcycle to ride. Weight is also, as I mentioned, down by 4 kgs, and me being 5 feet 10, as you can see, there's a good angle at my knees, and you'd be able to ride this motorcycle even if you're a short person very, very easily. The pillion seat is obviously step and split, and it's not one of the easiest for the pillion to climb on. Usable only for short to medium journeys, not for long distances, although this grab rail is new, is very, very easy to use, and it's lighter as well. Now, talking about the changes again, as you can see, the headlight here is different. You have these new DRLs, a new headlight. The tires are Metzeller's 110 section up front and 150 at the rear. Beautiful tires. You can use them with confidence in a variety of conditions. Totally confidence inspiring. These panels here have been extended, and they really add a lot of girth to the motorcycle, add a lot of body to the motorcycle. They look pretty aero as well. And an important aspect of the aero bits is this new rear fender, and these parts also look like, you know, they're aero bits, although they are not. The hugger has been removed, and that also has helped in reducing the weight of this motorcycle. Now, the instrument console here is also all new. It's a 5-inch color TFT, very rich display, and let me just walk you through this very, very quickly. You can find a more detailed version of this on my walk around. So you have all the controls available right here, and the switchgear quality is also top notch. You also get a hazard switch now, which was not available earlier. The mirrors here are very wide. They are made of metal. They are beautifully set up. They give you a very good view of what's coming from behind, and they look more aero, more sleek. They really add a touch of premium feel to the motorcycle, and the navigation through the screen is very easy. You use these controls, and in motorcycle you'll get the ride mode, which is track, rain, and street. In rain mode you have slightly less power and torque, and the traction control also cuts in rather quickly. The throttle response is also pretty damped. It's not as sharp. It's a ride-by-wire throttle, so the throttle response is really sharp here, and it's somewhat jagged in the rain mode. Then you can turn to supermoto mode in ABS, where the rear ABS is disengaged. Then you have the traction control on or off, and you have launch control on or off. And then similarly you have the bike info, where you have the coolant temperature, basic health of the motorcycle. Then you have the trip info, and you have a lap timer, and you can also choose from a variety of settings. So all of that is fantastic, and it's pretty easy to use. There is no problem. It comes with Bluetooth connectivity, with turn button navigation. It comes with your audio controls. You can also receive and reject calls. So all of that functionality is built right into this instrument console. The switchgear quality here is absolutely top notch, and you have this pass switch here, all the controls for the menu, turn indicator, hazard, horn, and this is the engine kill switch along with the ignition. This is what the key looks like, and the tank has now been increased to 15 liters. This is how the lid opens. In terms of fuel efficiency, you would be reasonably happy if you get about 30 to 32 kmpl on this motorcycle. It can drop down to up to 25 if you ride it hard, but 30 is achievable if you're not riding like a maniac. So that should be the fuel efficiency on this motorcycle. The tail lamp, just like the headlamp, is new as well, and this is what it looks like. Overall, the motorcycle looks beautiful to me. I don't really think there is anything wrong with it. And this swing arm here is also a new unit. Unlike the previous one, this one is slightly bigger, and what KTM is calling it is a banana shaped swing arm for some reason, and it definitely aids the stability of this motorcycle and looks rather neat as well. Now, one important thing to notice here is that the clutch and the brake lever are adjustable for span, and it's very easy to adjust them using these little knobs. And another thing that you would observe is that you don't have the knuckle guards that you had on the previous generation. Also, the disc is now on the other side, so it was earlier on the left, now it's on the right hand side of the motorcycle. About the seat, if you want the seat height to be more, if you were happy with the 823 mm seat height, you can still have it, and you'll have to just throw away the seat and buy a new seat with a spacer as a power part, and you'll have to pay extra for it. All in all, with its lower compression ratio and all the other changes that have been made to the engine and everything else, it has come across as a beautiful motorcycle, a motorcycle that I would like to ride all day long, and I would recommend to my friends and family in its new generation avatar. I think the KTM 390 Duke has come across as the most complete motorcycle I have ridden in a very long time. Of course, it's not an adventure motorcycle, so the off-road requirement is still unaddressed, and KTM 390 Adventure would take care of that. But for the street, I personally believe that right now this motorcycle is one of the best motorcycles you can buy in this country right now, and I'm completely in love with it. You can buy it in this blue color or an all orange color, where you have an orange seat, and the color of this aluminum subframe there is dark. It's done in black. This panel is all orange, and there are some other changes as well. Which one of the two you like better? Do let me know in the comment section. All in all, I personally believe that KTM have done a near flawless job, save for maybe the vibrations, very mild vibrations which come in after 6000 RPM, and which I personally think I and you can completely disregard. It's a piece of engineering excellence, and if you are buying in this segment, which is 3,10,000 rupees ex-showroom for this motorcycle, which is about 13,000 rupees more than the previous version, you cannot make your buying decision without having test ridden this motorcycle. It's really bloody good. I really hope that I was able to answer all your questions about this motorcycle in this detailed review. If you liked it, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Do share this video with your friends if you care for in-depth detailed analysis of cars and bikes, and not the garbage that is served on various different channels right now. This is your friend Amit Chhangani signing off. Until next time, rev hard, rev free, and ride safe.